The Western genre occupies a unique and enduring place in the landscape of global cinema and media. Rooted in the mythology of the American frontier, Westerns are more than just tales of cowboys and gunfights. They are modern folklore, reflecting timeless themes of justice, independence, morals, and survival. Among the many films that shaped and immortalized this genre, True Grit, starring John Wayne, stands as a powerful example of why Westerns are both aesthetically beautiful and culturally significant. At its core, the Western genre is visually and thematically poetic. Sweeping cinematography, characterized by vast skies, endless deserts, and jagged mountain ranges, evokes not only physical freedom but also spiritual and psychological space. These landscapes serve as both literal and metaphorical arenas in which human conflict unfolds. The West, in this cinematic context, becomes a mirror to the soul, untamed, unpredictable, and unyielding. In True Grit, director Henry Hathaway uses the natural terrain of the American frontier as more than a backdrop. It becomes a character in its own right. The film's visual composition immerses viewers in a world that is both stark and majestic. The Oklahoma and Colorado landscapes are painted with golden light and rugged shadows, reinforcing the emotional tone of the narrative. Each wide shot of horseback riders crossing the plains or fording rivers communicates a sense of isolation and resolves, mirroring the internal journey of Mattie Ross and Rooster Cogburn. This internal play between environment and emotion are the hallmark of the genre. Nature in Westerns is not romanticized as a benevolent force. It is harsh and indifferent, forcing characters to either harden or break. The aesthetic beauty lies in this contradiction. The land is brutal, yet breathtaking. The characters are scared, yet notable in their perseverance. This visual poetic duality is central to the genre's enduring appeal. While the Western is celebrated for its grand vistas and iconic imagery, its true depth lies in its moral complexity. The genre often strips human experiences down to the elemental questions. What is justice? Who gets to define right and wrong? What is the cost of survival? And what are we willing to lose to uphold our principles? Rooster Cogburn is not a clean-cut hero. He is gruff, frequently drunk, and unafraid to kill in the pursuit of his version of justice. And yet, beneath his worn exterior lies a sense of duty and reluctant compassion. His relationship with Mattie Ross, a fiercely determined 14-year-old seeking vengeance for her father's murder, reveals his very capacity for loyalty and courage. John Wayne's portrayal of Cogburn is layered and revolutionary. Known for embodying the quintessential Western hero, stoic, commanding, and morally upright, Wayne takes a different approach in True Grit. Here, he allows vulnerability to bleed through the bravado. This performance, which earned him his only Academy Award, is less about mythic heroism and more about the burdens of living with one's choices. Cogburn's grit isn't just toughness, it's emotional endurance and will to do what is right even when the world has stopped rewarding such efforts. The moral nuance is what gives the Western genre its power. Characters are often trapped between the old codes of honor and the brutal realities of frontier justice. They operate in the gray areas in which law is fallible, and survivors can mean compromising one's ideals. Such moral ambiguity resonates across time because it reflects the human condition in its rawest form. The Western genre is linked to the American identity. It mythologizes the expansion era of the 19th century, turning the frontier struggles into allegories of self-reliance, liberty, and national destiny. Through these stories, the United States is a version of itself that emphasizes bravery, rugged individualism, and the pursuit of justice. Yet, this mythology has always been double-edged. Classic Westerns often portrayed simplistic, even harmful representations of indigenous people and erased the complex, multicultural realities of the frontier. Over time, however, the genre evolved. Revolutionist Westerns of the 1970s and beyond, films like The Outlaw Josey Wales, Unforgiven, and No Country for Old Men, began to interrogate these myths, offering more nuanced, morally ambiguous, and historically grounded perspectives. True Grit sits at a pivotal moment in this evolution. Released at the end of the 1960s, a time of great social and political upheaval, it bridges the gap between the idealisms of classic Westerns and the cynicism of modern era. It doesn't completely abandon the mythic structure, but it complicates it. Mattie's quest is notable, but it's also driven by vengeance. Cogburn is heroic, but deeply flawed. The film honors the traditions of the genre while subtly questioning their sustainability in the rapidly changing world. This is why True Grit remains relevant and perseveres the rugged ideals of the old guard while allowing for introspection and critique. In doing so, it opens the door for the genre to grow, to diversify, and to more honestly reflect the full spectrum of the frontier experience. For me, the Western genre is more than a category of film. It is a way of engaging with fundamental human questions. It offers a canvas vast enough to explore the weight of moral decisions, the isolation of grief, the meaning of courage, and the cost of justice. It is the cinematic storytelling stripped to its essentials, the lone rider on a long trail wrestling with forces greater than himself. Watching True Grit feels like entering a fable told in dust and sun, where every glance and gesture carries emotional heft. It is the film that doesn't offer easy answers but demands that we sit with discomfort, ambiguity, and loss. Its beauty lies not just in its sweeping visuals or its iconic performances, but its emotional honesty. In an age of hyperconnectivity and digital escapism, the Western remains grounded. It reminds us of stories that shape not only American culture, but the very structure of heroism in storytelling and cinema. And perhaps most importantly, it reminds us that grit, real grit, is not about perfection or power. It's about holding on to your sense of right and wrong in a world that consistently tests it. That's what makes the Western timeless, and that's why it still matters on the global stage, and why the Western, and True Grit especially, is important to me.